Welcome to the webinar. We're so glad to have you here. Our webinar today is on mastering digital attribution for marketing operations success. If you have been struggling to connect the dots between your digital channels, your overall marketing success, this webinar is for you. We're so grateful to be here together. We have our business analyst, Gavin Griffiths from Full Circle Insights, our team, to dive into some key components on digital attribution. And as a result, you will walk away with a few key points here. One, how to accurately measure the impact of your Salesforce campaigns and digital efforts, identifying your most valuable digital channels and optimizing your campaigns, and learning how to strategically update your marketing campaigns, specifically with attribution. So we're so glad to have you here. And with that, we will go ahead and dive into an agenda for this next 40 minutes that we'll spend together. So we'll walk through quick introductions of Gavin so that you know a little bit more about our team member here, and then we'll walk through those 3 key points that you'll be able to take away. Gavin has so much material here that will help you alongside your journey in tapping into digital attribution. So we're really excited to have you here. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with a Q&A. So if you do have any questions as the webinar is moving forward, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We'll have some time at the end of this webinar so that we can review them together, get your questions answered, and make sure that you get a clear understanding of any questions that you have. So with that, we are thrilled to introduce Gavin Griffiths. He is our business analyst here at Full Circle Insights. Gavin brings nearly a decade of experience in digital marketing, business intelligence, and marketing analytics to Full Circle. We are thrilled and so blessed to have him on our team. He has 3 years, in his 3 years as an implementation consultant, he has taught dozens of marketing operations teams specifically how to optimize their marketing strategy using the Full Circle platform. He is beloved by our customers here at Full Circle for his creative, upbeat approach to problem solving, and also for helping them stretch their marketing dollars to generate more business. So we're so thrilled to have him here and to have you all here. And with that, I'll give it to you, Gavin, to say a quick hello.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. All right, so looking forward to digging into the details here with you today. Let's go ahead and get started.
All right.
All right, so cool. Digging into Digital Source Tracker and campaign attribution. These platforms are part of our award-winning product suite designed to give marketers a clear picture of the impact of your digital marketing strategy and campaign attribution. These platforms are actually broken out into 3 powerful pieces of technology that run natively within Salesforce to combine and make this possible. So Touchpoint Capture, a part of the Digital Source Tracker platform, stores anonymous digital touches. And when an individual provides you with their information through a form submission, for example, Touchpoint Capture maps their previously anonymous touches to a known campaign member in Salesforce, which enables you to understand and map the buyer's entire journey from first anonymous touch on the website all the way through opportunity 1. Moving on to the next piece of this is the daily aggregate database. Also part of Digital Source Tracker, this part of the platform gathers and combines digital marketing information from Touchpoint Capture, Google Analytics, and Salesforce campaign members in a MapReduce algorithm and stores this in an efficient daily entry within Salesforce. And then lastly is our campaign influence detail. This is the heart of the campaign attribution platform that combines your digital marketing information from our Touchpoint Capture and Salesforce campaign member details and combines them into a custom report. This displays your multi-touch and single attribution data that is rebuilt daily on your on demand based for custom models focused around your marketing strategy and KPI tracking. So this data is effectively laid out in several dashboards to create an in-depth reporting system to take this information from Touchpoint Capture, the daily aggregate database, and your campaign attribution, and it distills these reports down into a series of charts that are concise, relevant, and easy to read. And these components form effectively the backbone of our full circle method for digital marketing campaign attribution. That's focused on your core questions that digital marketers are often called upon. So for the full circle method for digital marketing, this is a structured process built around data from our structured dashboards. These dashboards were developed by and for marketers to support day-to-day measurement and analytics of marketing performance. These are a combination of campaign attribution and digital source tracker to make it easy to see how your online efforts are supporting revenue generation and other business goals that you're pursuing. In the next sections, what we're going to review is we're going to cover a small snippet of the reporting capabilities leveraged by our campaign attribution and digital source tracker platforms to help you master your campaign attribution and make better data-driven decisions for your marketing operations. So going into a little bit here, this is one of our dashboards. It's the evaluating dashboard. This really is fascinating piece. It's tied to your campaign attribution. This offers insights into how much revenue is effectively being influenced by your Salesforce campaigns. Underlying reports use Full Circle's multi-touch campaign attribution to determine how new business revenue is being influenced by each campaign. So this is going to help your marketing operations team answer questions like how are performing, which campaigns are contributing to revenue, and are certain marketing activities yielding more opportunities as opposed to revenue. Kind of digging in here. So within Full Circle's campaign attribution platform, you can actually run 3 custom weighted attribution models simultaneously. Shown in the top left is the top campaigns by attribution, most revenue won. So this is based on one of the 3 custom built attribution models that would be running. It lists your top performing campaigns in descending order of influence one revenue, basically which Salesforce campaigns are influencing the most revenue. Shown in the bottom left is top campaigns by attribution, most revenue lost. Also based on the same attribution model as mentioned previously, you can see your campaigns in descending order of influence lost revenue, or how much closed lost revenue is attributed to your which Salesforce campaigns. In the top right, we have attribution by campaign type. And this is a little bit different. So this is a pie chart showing the distribution of revenue by organizational department based off campaign sources. So in other words, this is where you check to find the amount of revenue for which each organizational department is actually responsible for. And down in the bottom right, we have our touch timing by campaign type 1. This component lets you track the pattern of touches by campaign type in 30-day cohorts prior to close one opportunities. So for example, for the 150 to 180 day time cohort, you can very easily compare how many touches from each campaign type were received relative to other campaign types for the same period. This can help answer questions about which type of campaigns people interacted with at a specific time and how that time period compared to others in terms of interaction types. This can also be broken down because we're combining both your online traffic and capturing your UTM metrics from form submissions and combining that in with your Salesforce campaigns. This could also be broken down into digital touches as well. So rather than looking at this by campaign type, you could break this into 30-day cohorts to identify touches from online sources and seeing broken down by UTM medium, source, or UTM campaign to identify what that buyer's journey looks like, or how many touches are coming in from everywhere from 181 days out from opportunity close all the way to 0 to 30, or however you decide to set up your reporting within this. Now, moving into the revenue dashboard. So this revenue dashboard is to help answer top of line revenue questions about the value of specific campaigns, of different types of campaigns, and of marketing as a whole. It uses data to give credit where credit is due, breaking down marketing's contribution to revenue with increasingly granular reports. So this is based off the digital source tracker part of the platform, but it can help you answer questions like how much of your company's revenue can be attributed directly to marketing and what proportion of revenue comes from digital versus traditional marketing. Looking in here, so kind of shown in the top left, this is a combination that this revenue attributed to marketing, digital and non-digital. This reflects gross quarterly revenue that was influenced by digital and non-digital marketing combined. This figure here provides a useful jumping off point for conversations about the dollar value of your marketing efforts as a whole. Moving on to the right, so we have digital versus non-digital attribution model 1. This compares the overall influence of digital versus non-digital touches on total marketing revenue based on the spread of your model, campaign attribution model. So in this example, for like a multi-touch even spread model that was used, we can identify the monetary contributions of digital versus non-digital marketing presenting the opportunity. So directly within here, we can see what piece of that total influence revenue by marketing was associated to digital touches that came from your website versus non-digital touches that are coming in. And same would go for the one over to the right for the model 2 in a similar fashion, where we're looking at a different kind of campaign attribution model as well to be able to identify that in a similar fashion. Now, down in the bottom left, we have digital advertising revenue attribution. So tied to the digital source tracker, as mentioned previously, where not only can we identify down to the Salesforce campaign exactly how much revenue is being influenced by your models through your custom weighted attribution, but we can break this down all the way into the UTM metric and identify things like how much revenue is being attributed directly to your cost per click advertising, or how much revenue is being attributed to email advertising. And then moving to the right, we have our organic digital revenue attribution, which tells you how much of your digital revenue is attributed to non-paid channels. This can give you an idea of the financial impact of your business on referrals that come in organically online, or just through regular organic traffic. So if you're putting more and more efforts into search engine optimization, this can show an impact of what that's doing as far as driving just organic traffic to the website. And then lastly on here, we have our revenue attributed by campaign, digital and non-digital. This identifies your campaigns as digital or non-digital color codes and lays them out in descending order of one revenue, with both digital and non-digital efforts presented in the same graph. So you can see which specific campaigns are contributing to the most of your revenue, and refer to this chart when you want to compare all of your campaigns for both digital and non-digital in terms of attribution and quarterly revenue. All right, moving into the engagement dashboard. So we've shown you some samples here effectively, so you can actually see a little bit into the campaign attribution aspects and tying in together where we're aggregating that data associated with your Salesforce campaigns and identifying which of those campaigns are having the biggest impact on revenue and your marketing efforts, and tying that in with your digital touches that are coming in from form submissions on the website. This is where we are capturing additional information and pulling details in from your Google Analytics. So for the engagement dashboard, this is going to show how your marketing efforts lead people to engage with your company's website. So underlying reports that use GA and UTM analysis to determine how campaigns, media, and sources drive engagement. You can answer questions along the lines of, where do my website visitors come from? Which campaigns lead to the most visitors to my website? And when visitors arrive at my website, what are they doing? So going into this a little bit, what we can see here is effectively, like on that top left, this top digital advertising campaigns by page view. This lists your digital advertising campaigns in descending order of page views over the current and previous fiscal quarter. In addition to raw sum of page views, the list also includes the sum of clicks as well as a page view to click ratio. And it offers you a jumping off point from when you need to answer general questions about how effective your digital marketing is at bringing attention to your company's offerings. So in a sense, being able to identify that click to page view ratio allows you to effectively see, how well are people engaging with your website. So referring back to our campaign attribution piece, we know which campaigns are performing the best. We can move backwards to this and identify it based on that UTM campaign data and say, hey, we had a campaign that performed extremely well. What does the engagement from that campaign look like on our website? And it could depend on your strategy around that. Is your strategy tied to this, looking at campaigns where you're doing content syndication, where you're driving people to the website and you want them to engage with as many pages as possible and dig around and get more details to potentially generate more white paper downloads or form submissions? Or you may have a strategy focused around a single landing page conversion where you don't want to have a high engagement or a high page view to click ratio. You want to have as close to a single page view to click ratio as possible, because your goal is to drive traffic to the website and get them to submit a form for a demo request or download that white paper or whatever it is. And so these pieces here from the engagement dashboard are tying that information together and allowing you to see effectively what those trends look like. So you can identify here in that top middle one, page views to click ratio by campaign, where we can see hey, broken down by month, which campaigns, like what that page view to click ratio looks like, or in the far top right, digital advertising page views by per click by month, you can see that overall trend over time of what the entire overall website engagement looks like of the clicks versus page views that are coming in. And then working down, you can identify things like digital advertising page views by source. So you can break this down into further details around your UTM metrics and identify what that engagement looks like by UTM source, or total page views CPC versus organic. So if you have specific months where you're noticing, hey, we put a ton of money into our paid search advertising, did this impact organic traffic? Did we see a rise in organic traffic as a result of putting more money into paid search advertising? And if so, can this be reflected back onto the campaign members where form submissions have come in and see like, hey, we noticed that we had a rise in MQLs that came from organic traffic, or we had a rise of things that came in from paid search. This is where you can see that effective kind of correlation or causation of how those two pieces talk to each other and tie that data together. And then identifying, of course, in the bottom right, the CPC versus organic page view trend, you can see month over month, effectively what that trend looks like of engagement across the entire website. And then lastly, moving into kind of the cost metrics. So again, as we've talked about, being able to culminate and tie together all of your digital advertising efforts and see, okay, hey, we know which campaigns are performing well, we know which campaigns are not performing well. And we've gone back and looked at the website engagement to see, hey, okay, these are things that we're noticing for our campaigns that are performing really well. We might want to make these changes on our website engagement and mimic this over onto other campaigns, or for campaigns that were not performing so well, we may either want to reallocate cost on those campaigns, or we may need to make optimizations about how we're sending people to the website. And then for this cost dashboard, this allows you to just stay in the loop on where your digital advertising and non-digital marketing spends are, and analyze costs from multiple angles. So starting with an all-in price tag of digital advertising and drilling all the way down into the campaign level, you can pull information across from sourced cost information that's being pulled out of Google Analytics versus manually populated costs that's being imported for your non-digital campaigns within Salesforce. So you can identify things like, how much does our digital advertising cost? Which marketing mediums are we spending the most on or the least on, and how are we paying to maintain each of our digital campaigns? So at the end of the day, you can go in here and effectively see, okay, on the top left, this is how much we spent within a specific time period on our digital marketing, and what the breakdown of that spend is by campaign, and then versus how much we spent on our non-digital marketing efforts and that breakdown of campaign. And then referring back to where we discussed earlier around knowing which campaigns are generating the most revenue, we can say, okay, hey, we have campaigns that are performing really well. This is what we're currently spending. Let's increase spend here. These are the campaigns that are not performing as well. Is it a matter of, do we need to actually increase spend to broaden our reach? Or do we need to reallocate that funding over to a different campaign that is performing well to drive more beneficial leads and increase the flow into our pipeline? So we're going to change gears a little bit after going through those dashboards, and I want to kind of show you some of the cool features that are built in with these platforms to help you dive even kind of deeper into this. And one of the things that we have within the Digital Source Tracker and Campaign Attribution platforms are these tools, the Deal Explorer and the Journey Explorer. And so the Deal Explorer is tied to your campaign attribution. So when you're gathering data about how your campaigns are influencing the opportunity that are associated with your context on the account and opportunity, what happens is if you want to see an in-depth breakdown of the campaign influence of one specific opportunity, this will provide you details about every response along the way and allows you to dive directly into this. And so when you click into this Deal Explorer part of the campaign attribution, we can identify things around the opportunity details, such as like name, account owner, opportunity create date, opportunity close date, opportunity amount. That's great. But to the right, we can identify main campaign touch point details. So for like things like the admin originating contact, like what contact was the opportunity created from? What was the primary campaign source? What was our first campaign touch versus last campaign touch? And then digging even deeper into that. So at the very beginning, I mentioned that you can run 3 attribution models simultaneously. This allows you to go in and visually identify exactly how much revenue is attributing to each one of those campaigns. So if you looked at rather than looking at aggregate, if we drill down to an individual opportunity level, we can see directly in here how much revenue is attributing to your website demo request, or that's a campaign that's assigned via Drift, and what that breakdown is. And then down at the bottom, we have an actual like in-depth model details. There's no black box with this because these attribution models are built custom around your marketing strategy. So for your campaign attribution model 1, it could be an account even spread, where if you have an organization where maybe your sales reps are not really great about adding contact roles to an opportunity, and you want to say, okay, hey, I need to see what the campaign influence is across all of the campaign members, or campaign touch points across all the contacts on the account level that are tied to this opportunity. You can do that with this and assign specific weighting on there to go in and identify this. Or if you want to break it down at the opportunity level for like opportunity primary contact, and say, okay, hey, I want to see what are my really high impact campaigns that are directly associated to that primary contact on the opportunity. Or maybe I want to say, hey, I just want to attribute the campaign touch points to the contacts that are just on the opportunity itself. So all of these things can be customized and built in, and this Deal Explorer allows you to drill directly into those details and see not only which campaigns are attributing, but based on how you've structured your attribution models around your marketing strategy. Whereas like you may have like a really high focus around first touch campaigns, you may have a really high focus around seeing all the campaign touch points that came in prior to opportunity creation or post opportunity creation. This allows you to dig into those details and then troubleshoot in real time and see, okay, hey, if I make this modification to this model, how's that going to reflect? And you can see that directly within this Deal Explorer. So it's a really handy tool to be able to dive into the details and have a very user-friendly experience in identifying exactly what your attribution looks like in a simple and easy to read way. Then digging into the Digital Source Tracker platform, we have this awesome piece of this, and it's called the Journey Explorer. So when you use Digital Source Tracker, you're gathering data about how your contacts interact with both digital touches and non-digital touches. And if you want to see, you want to say, okay, I want to identify the in-depth journey for one specific user with details about every response along the way. And because Digital Source Tracker can also capture those anonymous touches, where if let's say someone comes to the website and they don't fill out a form submission, Digital Source Tracker will capture that information about that user session and add that to their campaign history. So we can actually identify and say, okay, hey, this is not only what someone's campaign history looks like of them submitting form submissions or downloading white papers. So we can go in and very in-depth identify exactly what those individual touch points look like. So seeing here like a high level piece for the Journey Explorer, you'll be able to see things associated, with like, again, the opportunity name, where the opportunity currently is, close date, created date, first touch, primary campaign source, and last touch. But we can also see things like the first digital touch, first form fill, most recent digital touch, how many overall touch points have occurred, and number of days before form submission. So we can capture all of that detail in here, and then we put it together in a nice visual aid to be able to break this out. So in the journey chart for this, what we can do is you can see effectively what all of these touch points look like. So to kind of see here, we can identify in this person's journey, their first initial touch that came to the site was from Bing. And then a couple of months later, they came in and through a LinkedIn ad or a LinkedIn post, and they came to the website and identified there. And then later it was through Facebook. But we can also see these non-digital touches where someone may have attended, an in-person event, but we can identify, okay, here's their first initial form fill that brought them in and generated the inception of a brand new leader, a brand new contact within your org. And as soon as that happens, that's where we effectively tie all this together, and we can see all of these other touch points that occurred. And then with this vertical line here, we can identify, okay, this is when the opportunity creation happened. And then this second vertical line here, we can identify when the opportunity was closed. So this allows you to go in and break down in, custom time groupings, whether that be day, week, month, year, or change up your grouping. Instead of looking at UTM source, you could break it down by UTM medium or UTM campaign, and see exactly what that customer's journey looked like all the way through here at an individual level. So within here, breaking it down further, this allows you to go in and see, okay, we can identify exactly you know, where the campaign members came in, where on the site those were sourced from, and the impact and tied to your campaign attribution, along with any kind of, you know, anonymous touch points that didn't result in form submissions, to give you a very, very in-depth journey view of what everything looks like as someone, you know, generates your opportunities. And from this, you can take this data and say, okay, we know what our most high performing campaigns are. We know which ones are our lowest performing campaigns. Let's put our eggs into this basket of to improve our marketing and drive more marketing qualified leads, and ultimately close more revenue. So what we really just covered a small piece of the dashboards in those components on here. There is a mountain of other information available on the other components within these dashboards that are associated to our campaign attribution and our digital source tracker platforms. And so thank you guys all so much for taking the time to meet with us today, and I will be happy to take your questions. So thank you.